Just a few days ago, I posted a camera photography comparison between Surface Duo and Surface Duo 2. And a lot of you guys and gals out there said, hey, I'd like to see the same thing done, but Surface Duo 2 versus a Z Fold 3. Now, I don't have a Z Fold 3 on hand for some reasons I've discussed already, but I do have a Z Fold 2, and the camera hardware is identical. I believe it's literally identical. So the photography is going to be very, very similar. So here today, I'm going to give you a comparison, a back and forth between the Z Fold 2, 3, whatever, Z Fold, and the Surface Duo 2. So let's look at picture number 1 now. Okay, so looking at picture number 1, this is taken by the Z Fold 2. This is a church down the road from my house. And if we zoom in here, we can see this is a pretty detailed picture. The clouds look nice and sharp. The colors look nice and accurate. I would consider this to be a pretty good looking picture. The next picture is taken by Surface Duo 2, and I apologize because I accidentally, for some reason, had my Z Fold 2 set to shooting in 16:9, which I never have. No idea how I got changed to that. So we're looking at 16:9 and 4:3. So forgive me for that. It shouldn't make any difference. It's just going to look a bit different. But let's zoom in here. And can we see much of a difference here in terms of detail when we are zoomed in? I think the Surface Duo 2 looks plenty detailed as well. Let's compare. Looks pretty similar to me. Let's look at the way that the sky looks. I think we're a little overexposed there where the Z Fold did a bit of a better job. So the exposure is probably a bit better on the Z Fold 2. But all in all, I think these are both pretty decent looking pictures. Now let's use the ultra wide here on the Z Fold. And of course, we're going to lose detail on an ultra wide. It doesn't look nearly as sharp as it did before, but the contrast is still good. The colors are still good. The exposure is still good as well. On the Surface Duo, you're going to notice that the color palette completely changed. So going from their first picture to their second picture, completely different looking picture. The details, I say pretty similar to what we had on the Z Fold 2. The exposure is actually pretty decent. It is a bit dimmer than we have here on the Z Fold 2. And just overall, the tone just looks a bit different. It's not quite that gloomy out, although it's not quite that bright out as it shows on the Z Fold 2. The truth is somewhere between these two. But the biggest thing for me is just how radically different this looks to that. Now we're using the telephoto to zoom in here, and the telephoto lens on the Z Fold 2 is quite good. We've got pretty good detail, pretty good exposure on the Z Fold 2. We're keeping that same kind of gloomy look, which is a bit more gloomy than it looked in real life, but still, I'd call this a pretty passable telephoto image. It's a bit grainier. There's a bit of grain here in the shadows and a bit less detail overall when compared to the Z Fold 2, but not a radical difference. So far, Z Fold 2 holding its own. Here's a picture using, again, the telephoto of a crow that I spotted on my walk back. This is the Z Fold. This is the Surface Duo. Again, Duo holding its own here. This is the barn behind my house. The Z Fold 2 does a good job here of holding in the nice reds here, the colors of the leaves. We got good detail and good separation on a lot of these leaves. The sky isn't overexposed on Surface Duo. Hey, we're looking pretty good. The colors are good. The clouds look good. What about the details over here? How about this big tree in the backyard? This is a great picture by the Z Fold. Look at the good details here because this was all in shadow to my eye. Looking very good. And Surface Duo actually does a really good job here of pulling out maybe more detail, maybe more color than we got on the Z Fold. Look at this area here. I would say this is the brighter, more colorful, more pleasing image to my eye. Surface Duo doing very well here. This is a carport here. This is a good one I like to use because almost always on bad cameras, this is underexposed and this is overexposed. The Z Fold 2 handles it like a champ. Surface Duo handles it like a champ as well. Here we have a portrait mode picture taken of my boy Rutherford in the backyard. Nice, good detail, nice soft blur. Surface Duo is a bit hazier looking, so the colors aren't as warm or as punchy, but I would say this is still passable. Not nearly as good as the Z Fold 2. So in portrait mode, Z Fold 2 definitely takes a bit of a lead. And using the selfie camera to take a portrait, here we have the Z Fold 2 beard hair test in progress, looking pretty decent. And I would actually say that Surface Duo 2, wow, did it take a better portrait using the selfie camera? They're really, really close, aren't they? Is the Surface Duo more detailed though? I believe it might be. We have a selfie. I would call this a win for Surface Duo 2. Now back inside the house, let's look at the detail here in this corner. Pay attention to the word Samsung there, to the detail around this area. Jumping over to the Surface Duo 2. Detail looks similar, but the colors are a bit off. This is more accurate in terms of color. This is a bit wonky in terms of the coloration. Now let's turn the lights off and activate night mode. Z Fold 2 turns night mode on, and detail is still okay. The colors wash out a little bit. Surface Duo 2 looks really, really similar, but it is way grainier. And this is a place where Surface Duo 2 is still struggling pretty heavily, is with night mode and low light photography. Granted, it is a mile better than it was on the original Surface Duo. It's just not nearly as good as it is on a proper flagship like the Z Fold 2. So next up, I'm going to show you some video samples side by side, and you let me know what you think looks better. All right, so I'm walking down this back alley here, filming on both Surface Duo 2 as well as Z Fold 2, filming at the exact same settings, 4K 30. Although this video may be downscaled whenever it is output, but the quality should look pretty similar. Let me know what you think is the better looking and better sounding footage in the comments down below. And what about in terms of selfie camera? Which is the better looking and sounding camera? When it comes to the front facing selfie camera, again, same settings, let me know. So guys, all in all, I'm really impressed with the Surface Duo 2, and keep in mind, no crashes, nothing weird happened while I was taking these pictures, walking around, taking these videos. Everything was just fine. Some people have reported some bugs, some glitches, some errors with Surface Duo 2's camera. I've not seen much yet. I've seen some issues with auto rotation while the camera is open. Auto rotation normally is really fast on Surface Duo 2. With the camera open, it can be a little bit janky there, but nothing too crazy happened on this particular trip. Surface Duo 2 maybe doesn't beat the Z Fold 2, but I'd say it goes punch for punch with it in a lot of ways. Pretty impressive source. I'm concerned, and definitely good enough to stay in my pocket full time. Guys, thanks for making it to the end of today's video. Hit that subscribe button so you don't miss the next one. Maybe click that join button and help support the channel. Thank you so much if you do decide to do that. Stay tuned for more content just like this, and until next time, stay nerdy, my friends.